What's up, you freaky folks? My name is Nick, and welcome to my channel, where I cover all things horror. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. And on Saturdays, I like to take a look at my favorite streaming service, Shudder, to find a solid horror movie recommendation for you guys. But I thought this week it would be really fun to do something different and go through the Shudder Halloween collection and rank them. I did this for the Shudder Summer collection, and it wasn't very popular, but you know what? I thought this would be a fun way to look at all of these movies as opposed to trying to go through them one at a time. So let's talk about them, from least Halloween-y to most Halloween-y. At number 14, I have Scare Me, a recent Shudder edition that's about two writers in a snowy cabin in the woods who tell each other scary stories. I did a Shudder review for this one. Basically, I really didn't like it. Like, the more that I think about this movie, I really didn't care for it. Sorry. Number 13 is Spookers, a documentary about a haunted house attraction in New Zealand and the people that run it and work there. I thought this would be a quirky little exploration of community, but the more that this movie tries to connect its material with mental health issues, the more problematic it becomes. The land where the haunted house attraction is located on was previously a psychiatric facility, and the filmmakers try to compare the people who work at this haunted house attraction with those who would previously be locked up in a psychiatric facility decades ago. I feel like the filmmakers were looking down on these people and demonizing them while also trying to get the audience to have sympathy for them. It was weird. It felt weird to me. I don't know, maybe that's just my interpretation, but I really didn't care for Spookers. Number 12 is WNUF Halloween Special. This is a found footage movie that is supposed to be the lost recordings from a local news station's Halloween broadcast in the late 80s, when a news crew goes into a haunted house to perform a seance live on TV, but of course, scary shit goes down. The problem with this movie is that it is just trying to be Ghost Watch, and I'm sorry, but no one is ever going to be able to ever emulate that. Just don't even try. The movie certainly puts its work into looking like something from the 80s, but there's something that just isn't really quite right to me. It's just trying a little too hard to me, and really all it has is that aesthetic value that it's stretched way too thin over the course of its runtime, and ultimately, it doesn't work for me. Number 11 is Extremity. It's about a woman with a bunch of troubles from her past, so she goes to an extreme haunted house to try and work her way through those problems by being tormented constantly. I don't get it. I don't know how people could do any of this stuff. I would never go to one of these extreme haunts. They seem absolutely crazy to me. But in the movie, because this main character really wants to be pushed to her limit, it feels like we're watching someone torture themselves for like an hour and a half, and ultimately where it leads is a little predictable and ultimately just whatever. Number 10 is the Mortuary Collection, the latest Shudder original, an anthology filled with horrifying tales of morality. I thought about doing a Shudder review for this one this week, but I wasn't that impressed, so I figured I could say everything that I want about it in this ranking video. It has the Halloween vibes. It looks really good. I would say for a movie that went direct to streaming, it looks very good. However, like with most anthologies, the stories are just hit or miss. And while I appreciate that this one tried to have a solid wraparound, I feel like the material was kind of judging its audience and then pandering to it, and then with that wraparound, it just like stretched it out for way too far, and I was like, okay, I really don't care about this story at all, and this is supposed to be the main event, so it just was disappointing to me. I gave it a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. You should follow me on Letterboxd, just saying. I'd recommend it if you just want to watch something new around Halloween. I fully get that. It wasn't the worst, but honestly, I never plan on watching this again. Number 9 is V, a Russian supernatural tale about a man who must stay in the house with the corpse of a witch for 3 nights in a row. This is a more faithful adaptation of the story that inspired Black Sunday from Mario Bava. I love Black Sunday. You should watch this if you can. I did think V looked beautiful at times, and some of the effects did hold up, but it's only like an hour and 15 minutes, and towards the end it felt long, which is never a good sign. Number 8 is Haunters, another documentary, and this one has a wider scope looking at all sort of homemade haunted attractions, including the infamous McCamey Manor. I really enjoyed this one a lot more than Spookers, especially because I really didn't even know about all of these people that are just sort of setting up haunted houses in their own homes in the suburbs. Like, That's probably gonna be me at 40. But I overall really enjoyed the exploration of the world of haunted attractions because I've been going to them since I was a kid, and they used to not really be a big deal. They've really just boomed within the last 10 years, and it's so fun to see how our Halloween-loving world is growing. So this is definitely the best time of year to watch haunters. Number 7 is ReAnimator, one of my all-time favorites, probably the best of the 80s horror. I love ReAnimator. Dr. Herbert West creates a serum that brings the dead back to life, which all of us horror fans know you don't mess with. This movie is silly and funny and also gory as all hell. It is the perfect mixture of everything you want out of a horror film. It is so fast-paced and tightly edited. It is so well done. I love ReAnimator. You know what? I'm gonna have to do a review for this one. I'd have this at the top of the list, but it isn't very Halloween-y, so. Number 6 is The Changeling, and this one is very Halloween-y. An old man moves into a creepy old mansion that you know is haunted as hell, so he has to do the typical investigating to find out what happened and who is haunting his house. Something about October really just makes me think about old houses covered in cobwebs, so The Changeling really hits that sweet spot. And if you haven't seen it, I have to say, it is slow, it is very slow, but it is so well done. The way it leads to its conclusion is just excellent. If you are looking for those old school classic horror vibes, The Changeling is the one you're gonna wanna watch. Number 5 is Haunt, a slasher film about a group of friends who go to an extreme haunted house on Halloween night and find themselves stalked and picked off one by one in typical fun slasher movie fashion. Personally, I think we need a whole bunch more of these types of movies. I love the concept of people going to an attraction that's supposed to be scary in a fun, controlled environment, but then boom, you're dead. Shudder, I hope you hear this. We need a lot more haunts. Number 4 is Ginger Snaps, a Canadian werewolf movie about two close sisters who are torn apart after one of them is bitten by a werewolf. I rewatched this recently, and I have to say, I already loved it. This movie is great, but I forgot just how good it is. This movie does such a good job of marrying the werewolf tropes with a coming-of-age teen movie. The script was just so impressive to me. The more I was watching, I was just like, wow, this is so well done. And the execution, the way that they were able to pull off so much of this with the low budget. I mean, this movie came out 20 years ago, and it still holds up. If you haven't watched Ginger Snaps in a minute, well, give it a rewatch because it totally deserves it. It's only barely Halloween-y, so I was able to put it this far up the list, but it really is one of my favorites. Number 3 is Hell House LLC, a found footage flick about a group of people setting up a haunted house in an abandoned hotel. This is another one that I rewatched recently, and I really thought it was going to be a one and done kind of movie, but it really held up on its second viewing. It's really creepy. I don't even care for supernatural horror that much, but when it's done as well as it's done in Hell House, I love it. They have the entire trilogy, but I don't care for those sequels. I personally didn't like them. Maybe you do. Maybe you're going to want to watch them all, but Hell House is the one you have to watch this Halloween. Number 2 is Halloween, because of course, and they also have Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. I don't really have to introduce this, do I? Slasher Michael Myers breaks out of a mental institution on Devil's Night to head home for Halloween to stalk a group of babysitters. Halloween is an absolute classic that everyone loves. I have to say, I don't love it that much. I have some feelings about Halloween, but it still is the movie I prefer to watch on Halloween night, so maybe I should do a review for that one as well. I know you're thinking, how is Halloween not number 1? Well, I had to keep it interesting, duh. Number 1 is Tales of Halloween, an anthology set in a small suburban town on Halloween night where all sorts of creepy happenings occur. From monstrous murderers to scary children, Tales of Halloween has it all. I know Trick or Treat is everyone's preferred Halloween-themed anthology. However, I don't think Tales of Halloween should be forgotten. It is loaded with so many different stories, which I think sets it above most anthologies that usually only have like 3 or 4, maybe 5. There's a ton of stuff going on in Tales of Halloween. I mean, it's bound to have something for everyone. But I couldn't finish out this ranking without talking about probably the most important thing in Shudder's Halloween collection. It's obviously the Gulag. I mean, the Gulag, you could just watch it for hours. Just throw it on, I just watch it just for hours straight. That is my ranked list of Shudder's Halloween collection. What are your favorites? Feel free to leave your own ranking in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have any recommendations for future Shudder reviews. Let me know what you're watching on Shudder, or just what you're watching to get in the Halloween spirit. This is the best time. Let me know how you guys are enjoying yourselves. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to follow me on Instagram if you're interested. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested, and hit that bell so you don't miss any creepy content. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.